Good afternoon. I'll start this meeting, and it's for May 4th, 2016, Oceanside City Council, Harbor District, and CDC. Roll call, please.
Mayor Wood.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Lowry.
Here.
Councilmember Feller. Here. And Councilmember Kern and Councilmember Sanchez are absent.
Thank you. We'll go forward, and Mr. Mullen.
Thank you. Council meeting closed session to discuss item 1 on the closed session agenda, conference with labor negotiator involving the Oceanside Fire Management Association, Western Council of Engineers, and management employees of the City of Oceanside. Council will also meet on item 2, conference with real estate negotiator involving the property commonly known as the Strand, the area running parallel to the and east of the beach between Breakwater and Wisconsin. Under negotiations are price and terms for the use of the real property, and technically the property would be located east of the Strand, not on the Strand. Item 3, conference with legal counsel on existing litigation in the matter of Hurst versus Garcia et al. And Grace versus Lance et al.
Thank you.
I'll make sure.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We'll get started on the first half of the City Council meeting for May 4th, 2016. Roll call, please.
Mayor Wood.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Lowry.
Here.
Councilmember Feller.
Here.
Councilmember Sanchez.
Here.
And Councilmember Kern is in the building and will be joining us shortly.
Sandy, he'll be here to join us. And thank you very much with that. Could we go forward on that item, please?
Yes, consent calendar items 4 through 16, and there's no public for any of these items.
Thank you.
Move approval?
I'll second that. Public on any of this?
No public.
Thank you very much. So please vote.
Mayor Wood, could you please vote? Sorry. Mayor Wood, yeah, thank you. Motion approved, 4-0, Kern absent.
Thank you very much. At your convenience, sir, please, number 17.
Yes, item number 17 is approval of a purchase order in the amount of $2,285,040 with Arietta Construction Incorporated of El Cajon for emergency relocation of the Loma Alta sewer line, declaration of an emergency for this project, approval to appropriate $2.5 million from the Sewer Fixed Asset Replacement Fund balance to cover the cost of this project, and authorization for the Financial Services Director or designee to execute the purchase order.
Thank you. Good evening. How are you? It's all yours.
Presentation?
Do you have a presentation?
Yes.
Is it on laptop 1 or 2?
I'm going to show you how that works. I'm really good at it. Oh.
Staff's here if you want to get some help behind you. By the way, Miss Dale was up in, I think, Monterey on a conference, so welcome.
Yes, thank you very much. So this
Put
evening...
your mic up.
Oh, what's that?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So this evening, as you know, the Water Utilities Department has embarked on an active condition assessment and repair program for our gravity sewer program. As you know, this started even before the Mesa Drive emergency sewer pipeline repair work that we did. But as part of that, we've been doing the entire city, all of our vitrified clay pipe and all of our ductile iron pipe, and we've really been targeting pipelines that are near water courses, such as the Loma Alta Creek. So this one pipeline, which is between Rancho de Oro Road and El Camino Real, right just north of the NCTD right-of-way, this was supposed to be when our first phase of our cured-in-place pipe relocation or repair work. And so as a part of this, we went and we did a video of it, and we came and found that we had some big roots, which is in the next slide. But when we came and tried to find some other laterals, we actually had to take a machete down there to find it. We found, as you can see right here, that we have some huge holes in the pipe. They're in the crown of the pipe, so it's not spilling, but obviously the pipe is in a big state of deterioration. And then this is not a very good picture from our closed-circuit TV program, but you can see we almost have a huge tree inside the pipe, and when we gave it to our contractor who was going to do the CIPP lining, and we gave it to several other contractors, they all basically said that if we tried to remove this root problem within there, that we were going to damage the pipe and collapse it due to the cleaning. So this is basically an overview of where the project is. What's delineated there is Pit A. We're crossing under several large diameter storm drains, and then we're going up to Oceanside Boulevard, and then we're going to tie in 1,000 feet west of Rancho de Oro Road into our existing 27-inch pipeline. So we have to do this in order to abandon the section that's along Loma Alta Creek that's deteriorated. And we have to start at Rancho de Oro Road because we have an existing 10-inch pipeline that comes from the south, and we have to collect that flow. So the timeline of events, when we started to do the CIPP program, that's when we did the CCTV. We saw that we had some corrosion indicators similar to the Mesa Drive. We requested to do some additional investigational items. They were mobilized on another project. We did some potholing to make sure that we could do this project because we have to go by gravity from the 10-inch and go all the way down to connect into the 27-inch. And we verified that this was possible. And then we also found that we had a high level of groundwater. So with all of those parameters, we wanted to get a cost from Arietta. We did contact several other contractors, but they definitely didn't want to touch this due to the risk nature of this kind of work. The cost for the repair, so this is the most conservative of the cost estimates because this included that we could do it, we'd have to do it at night, we'd have to have a huge dewatering operation, and we also have a very complex bore and jack under 396-inch storm drain pipes. We did the Mesa Drive on a time and materials basis, which really brought the cost down quite a bit when I got bids for that. And so their cost estimate for the most conservative of assumptions is $2.29 million. And in order to cover that, we're also asking for an appropriation of $2.5 from our sewer fixed asset replacement fund. So what we're asking for this evening, we're recommending approval of a purchase order of $2.285 and $40 to Arietta Construction for the emergency relocation. And then when the project is completed, it'll take, depending on what the groundwater actually is, 4 to 5 months. We're really trying to get this work done before the rainy season because we're afraid that it's not going to take the inflow and infiltration of another rainy season, and it might collapse during that scenario. And a declaration of an emergency of the project and an approval of an appropriation from the fund balance of the project. And with that, I'll take any questions.
No public on the side.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Okay, so this condition was discovered during routine inspections, and so we're darn lucky that this didn't break prior to that discovery, right? So,
Yes, ma'am.
We're
It
still
was
ahead of
actually
the game.
targeted for a capital improvement program to be lined, and then when we found it has the roots and deteriorated, we couldn't do that, but we had targeted as a cure-to-place pipeline CIP project.
right. But the costs were not included, and that was because the condition was not, in projecting like future planning. We did not know that the condition was so bad. Now, much longer will the routine inspection take for the balance?
Oh, for the remainder of the citywide system?
Yes.
We're pretty much 50% done,
Okay.
a little more than 50% done. So we hope by the end of the year we'll have that. We have found 5 spot repairs, which is another thing that we've repaired as we've been going on with our routine maintenance.
Okay, good. Now, I understand that you did not anticipate this as an additional cost, but will this impact water rates at all?
I'm going to have to defer that to Carrie, but when I had spoken to her, I don't think it does.
And Carrie's not here, so, Madam City Manager,
Yes, Councilmember Sanchez, honorable mayor, and council members, no, we don't anticipate this affecting water rates.
okay, that's a very good thing. Okay, well, obviously we need to do this, and probably need to do this as soon as possible because of such a bad condition. So I'm going to move that we approve the purchase order and declare the emergency for this project and appropriate the $2.5 million from the sewer fixed asset replacement fund balance and authorize financial services director or designee to execute the purchase order. Thank you.
Second.
I have a second down there. Thank you very much. Mr. Feller, please.
Thank you. I pointed this out earlier to the city manager. On your first page of background, it says in the first line or second line, encountered significant defects with a pipeline segment at Rancho Del Oro and El Camino Real, and that probably means between Rancho Del Oro.
Yes, that's
Not
correct.
that.
No, that's
So
correct.
it's, I kept trying to think how far east do we have to go or north before those two intersect. I couldn't find a place, so. What is core and jack?
Bore and jack is a trenchless methodology where we have a steel casing, and so we're not open trenching underneath there. So we're actually going to push a piece of steel casing under the 396-inch storm drains and then put the 18-inch sewer in that casing.
I see. Okay, very good. Thank you.
Mr. Kern, please.
Thank you. I want to apologize for being late. My wife just had knee replacement surgery today, so I just came from the hospital. She's fine. I'm lucky, 44 years of marriage, and we can still find replacement parts. So hopefully we'll move forward with that. So the one thing, I saw briefly your diagram up here, traffic impacts, traffic plan, working that out. And then the other thing is, we're going to be tearing up we're going to be digging, are we coordinating stuff with Public Works instead of just digging up, doing it one time? If Public Works has plans to put something in that right of way at the same time, can we coordinate that? And I'll defer to the manager on that one as far as the Public Works portion of it. But is there something that we're coordinating with all the departments that need to be coordinated with?
Certainly, we've had extensive conversations with the traffic department, with the engineering. We're made aware of the storm drain detention basin that's based on the southeast corner of Rancho Del Oro Road and Oceanside Boulevard. So we're aware of that, but unfortunately, we're not going to be able to relocate that part because that's not the part that's corroded, unfortunately. So we did coordinate with that. We're able to make a traffic control plan, so we won't have to do it at night. and we can extend the hours. So, and then once that traffic control plan is finalized with the city's traffic department comments, then we have to get the final approval from NCTD.
Okay, and the last question is, it sounds like the council's going to approve this today. When can you get started? Or
Yes, we've already done the surveying, we've done the potholing, which we've asked for in the, passed the memo through that. So by the time we get the NCTD permit, we can probably start in 30 days.
Okay, great, thank you.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor.
Based on a previous pipe break a few years ago, hurry.
Yes.
Thank you.
Amy, I thank you for filling in and coming here. Thank you very much. Good presentation. And we know when we had a break in a pipe and we don't get you early, it's a real disaster for the city and transportation. So thank you very much on that. We'll go ahead and vote.
Motion approved, 5-0.
Thank you much, Mr. Clerk. When you get a chance, number 18, please.
Yes. Item number 18 is approval of a memorandum of understanding by and among the cities of Carlsbad, Escondido, Oceanside, San Marcos, and Vista, the 78 corridor cities, to enter into a 2-year services agreement effective July 1st, 2016, with San Diego Regional Economic Development Corporation in the amount of $76,000, subject to council adoption of the fiscal year 2016-2017 budget, to continue funding of the Innovate 78 Economic Development Initiative, and authorization for the city manager to execute the MOU.
Yes, thank you very much. Tracy, good evening.
Good evening, Mayor, council members. Thank you very much. Just to give you an update on what's going on with Innovate 78 and some of the history, over the past probably 4 or 5 years, the 5 cities of North County have been working together. That's Oceanside, Carlsbad, Vista, San Marcos, and Escondido, to bring business, jobs, and economic prosperity to the region. This effort began really strongly in 2015 when we hired North Star Destinations to develop a brand, and which became the 78 Corridor, San Diego's Upside, and the campaign, which is Innovate 78. Once the brand was in place, the next step was to hire a group that could move this brand forward, get it launched, develop a website, collateral materials, a program, a marketing plan, and really roll this brand out. In 2015, we hired San Diego Regional Economic Development Corporation to do this work. And in the last 2 years, I think they've reached many milestones. They've done a really great job. We had the brand launched. We have collateral materials. We've gotten the brand out there a little bit, but we're trying to elevate that even more. The contract before you tonight is a 2-year agreement with San Diego Regional EDC to continue with the effort. The annual cost of the contract is $190,000, split 5 ways. It's $38,000 per city per year. Matt Sanford, a nice gentleman sitting in the back of me, is the Director of Economic Development for the San Diego Regional Economic Development Corporation, and he's our staff member assigned to this project to roll out our brand and really get it out there. Matt is here tonight to give you an update on the progress that has been made and the next steps for this 2-year agreement. With that,
Matt,
Tracy.
thank you very much for being here, coming up in the traffic, and welcome.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, City Council, for hearing this presentation this evening and considering this contract. On behalf of EDC, I can say it's been an absolute pleasure serving the 5 cities along the 78 corridor for nearly the past 2 years, and we would certainly look forward to the opportunity to do so again for the next 2 years. This is a project that we see a great amount of merit in, and it is something that we see is not being completed, and so we want to really take this. Well, I don't know if it'll ever be something that's completed because there's always going to be growth, but we really want to take it to the next level. So with that, a quick recap of some other things that we've done since the last time I provided an update to you all about 6 months ago, and then some discussion about what's ahead. So just as a quick reminder of what Innovate 78 is, it's a collaboration between the 5 cities along the 78 corridor so that we're really speaking with one voice and acting as one body when we are talking with businesses about retention, expansion, and attraction along the corridor. So we're no longer competing against each other, trying to get a business to move from one city to the other, as much as leveraging each other's assets to be able to really function much more efficiently. The three kind of top line goals: business retention, expansion, attraction, talent attraction, and really development as well. A lot of our program around talent development has been with Cal State San Marcos, Miracosta College, UC San Diego, and Palomar College. And university industry alignment, making sure that there's a solid pipeline and connectivity between the graduates coming out of those programs and businesses, so that we're able to fuel those, fuel that economy moving forward. So what we've done, and again, we split this really into two sides, the branding side and then an actual economic development side. So these are what we set out to do. You may recall this slide from our update 6 months ago. And these are some of the results now. So we've had more than 24,000 views on Innovate78.com. We get roughly 8,000 Twitter impressions per month, 1,000 Facebook impressions per month. We have hard collateral that we use to market the region. Most recently, we took copies of that collateral up to the Cal Ed conference. That's the California Association of Local Economic Development. All of copies that we took were gone within the first day. There was a lot of genuine interest from around the state and through IEDC, the National Association. A lot of interest nationally about this collaboration. I think I told you in November that collaboration is often a buzzword. Everybody talks about how they like to collaborate. Nobody really embodies it like we do here along the 78 corridor. And video content, and Councilmember Feller, I believe you mentioned that it'd be great to see a video from Oceanside, not from Escondido, which was the example that we had at the time. Happy to say that we now have a real quick clip that we'll show you from Oceanside.
Gilead, from this facility in Oceanside, we're supporting patients across the entire United States, into Europe, Canada, and into parts of Asia as well. Our therapies are currently used in Crohn's disease, ulcerative colitis, idiopathic pulmonary disorder, and liver fibrotic disease. My favorite aspect on the job here is working with the people, knowing that I'm going to work with some great individuals, and that in doing that work, we're going to be positively affecting patients that have significant unmet medical needs. Bringing those therapies to the patients and ultimately to commercialization is what is a very large motivating factor.
At Gilead, the culture really is about that. It's about the science. It's about how do we do things differently than other companies are doing them? How do we innovate? How do we stay on that leading edge of the market and the competition, and really driving towards identifying therapies that will meet unmet medical needs, really. The 78 corridor in general, it really connects inland San Diego to the coast and the 5 cities. It almost even goes beyond that to where you can expand into the Inland Empire, into Southern Orange County, deeper into San Diego County, to where you can really source talent from all of those places.
We partner with Miracosta College, Cal State University, San Marcos. Having access into those programs and the pool of students that are available absolutely helps us with attracting the employees that we're looking for.
It's really one of the last more affordable places in San Diego County to live, so you see a lot of growth in the local economies of those 5 cities where you have companies coming in like Gilead has done.
We as a family sought to live in North County because of the lifestyle that it affords us, quality of education that's available in the area, quality of lifestyle to raise a family.
It's laid back in North County to where you can have that good work-life balance where you're working with very intelligent people who will challenge you professionally, but then you can also walk out the door at the end of the day with them and go do something like surfing or mountain biking. Well, there's not many better places to live in Southern California if you like that outdoor lifestyle. It really is a great environment for people coming out of school, for people who have been in the industry for 30 years. I think that's what helps drive some of that challenge.
I've seen over the 30 years the 78 corridor provides to connect folks to those industries. It is really tremendous.
I'll go ahead and stop it there. On the economic development side, again, these are the goals that we had set out 6 months ago and to you all. This is the progress we've made so far. A quick note on our latest industry roundtable, which was the information and communications technologies industry. That has led to now an ongoing dialogue with NCTD on how we might be able to pursue public-private partnerships to have first last mile connectivity with transit into business parks, so that we're really able to leverage our North County Transit, Sprinter, Coaster, our bus systems much more efficiently and make it a commuter-driven economy for transit. So we're hopefully taking vehicles off the 78. In the last 11 months since we began tracking, the 5 economic development managers and myself, we have assisted over 125 companies that support more than 10,000 jobs in the 5 cities. We have developed an RFI packet that has been used so far in 6 potential attraction projects. All of those are still ongoing. Created common tools again in marketing and also in the way we assist businesses. I know the city managers across the corridor are involved in discussions on how we make sure permitting processes are as similar as possible. Coastal zone excluded there. So, and then partner engagement, this is about collaboration. We're not doing this alone either. So both with Tracy, with the other cities, as well as chambers of commerce, the North EDC, trade organizations as well. It's really been a great partnership. So. And so some other things that we have going on, this month we'll be launching an ad campaign at universities in the LA Orange County area focused on current graduates, letting them know that, hey, North County 78 corridor is a great opportunity, something along the lines of same opportunity, less traffic. We thought it was kind of fun, but ultimately, we have great talent being developed here in San Diego. They have exposure to this. In LA, great talent development, maybe not being exposed to this, so we want to make sure that they know that there's an opportunity there. Some research that we're doing as well, furthering on our tech economy, as well as a concept that we're pursuing, working with MiraCosta, with Cal State, with North County Career Centers, on not necessarily hosting mixers, but hosting events in which the business communities can come in and socialize with, somebody like a President Haynes, to be able to hear what Cal State is doing and how they are supporting businesses, and so hopefully driving even greater connectivity to resources here along the corridor. With that, excuse me, happy to take any questions.
Thank you very much. You can have a seat at sidebar and we'll go forward, but my first comments for me, because I sit on this board with all the other mayors, we've been very happy how far we've moved in a short period of time, number one. Number two, we got involved with all the superintendents of schools in the North County. They're working with all the 3 colleges. MiraCosta, Palomar, Cal State, San Marcos have been working with us also, and it's been wonderful. And having the schools involved really perpetuate a good feeling and good business aspect. Also, one of our first things is we get asked by everybody is, what kind of staff do you have in the area, educated staff to work on some of these things, specialized fields that we're seeing here in some of these pharmaceutical companies. And MiraCosta College was the first that went forward and listened to us and said, we'd like some education in biology, some of these pharmaceutical companies. They did that. MiraCosta College now has a 4-year degree at MiraCosta in biology. Things like that are really helping us get a trained force out there working in the North County. So I've been very happy about this, and we'll let some of the other council members they want to get in here. Thank you very much. And with that, Councilmember Feller, please.
Thank you. I have great praise for chasing economic development, but it's not just that. I think that we as Oceanside, getting ourselves landlocked in several places. It's not just about getting the business here, but it's also about providing for the future, and that is our job, to provide the roads, the housing, etc. But we don't have that cooperation with our neighbors on some of the things that we need, especially like closing Cannon Road. Carlsbad closed the reach on Cannon Road into Oceanside, which is a really big deal when it impacts Highway 78 and College. And that's, something for future discussion, but, we can't be locking each other out in times of this development for all the families that we want to come here, the jobs that we want here. They have to be able to get around, and it's not just going to be on trains and buses. It's got to be in their own vehicles and maybe even one or two bicycles or so. But it has to be something that they can get around. And if we're cut off and creating a huge burden on our road system here in Oceanside because we're not building the appropriate connections, then that's major bad on us. So anyway, thank you.
Councilmember Sanchez, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We've been involved in this since 2012. That's when we first authorized funds. So besides the media hits, are we able to realize tangible benefits that we would not have received but for this advertising, this, working together? Because I wasn't able to pick that up from the short video that you had. How do you measure the benefits that we get as a city of Oceanside versus the whole region? I get the idea of attracting students from outside the community. I actually would prefer to attract the students that we have within our community and get more internal, at the high school level or something like that, versus, some of the things that you described. But how are we attracting businesses to Oceanside? What are the tangibles? And how do you measure that?
Sure. So I would say you're absolutely right. I only put up a few brief examples on the branding side. To me personally, this is really about the economic development work that then uses that brand as a catalyst and as a vehicle to do more work more effectively. I would leave it to Tracy to say, her perception on how the city of Oceanside specifically has benefited. My role in this is to make sure that my time and attention and EDC's time and attention are spread evenly over the 5 cities. That doesn't necessarily mean that results are the same in all 5 cities, and I don't necessarily track how has one city benefited more than another, because I don't think that's really in the spirit of this MOU as much as being able to create the ecosystem through this collaboration. I would also say, in that one statistic, in 11 months, supporting more than 125 companies and 10,000 jobs. Just in our tracking system, the last few companies that we've entered have come through other areas, not from the cities themselves. So I would say that that is, those are companies that are interested in North County, not because of a pre-existing knowledge, but because they had reached out because they had heard what's going on.
Just Oceanside.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate that you keep talking about North County, but Oceanside, what have we gained? Tracy, if you could answer that.
Sure. There are several companies that I brought Matt and his group into, including Suja Juice, which is moving into, 160,000 square feet at First Park. That was a win for us. We brought them up from San Diego. They had done an RFI, almost 2 years ago, I think, and decided to move up here versus they were looking out of state. So that was a win. Matt has helped with MagnaFlow.
And you think that this program is directly the reason why this happened? It didn't go through, it wasn't because of another program that we would have?
The lead came from San Diego Regional for the RFI packet. So as well as the state. But I think having Matt on board and that group has really helped facilitate a greater collaboration, and it actually gives me another hand to help me. Being one person in a small department, I think it's really energized the amount of oomph that I can provide to a company with his background and knowledge, and he has resources at his disposal. I think we've noted 5 or 6 other staff members that can assist us as well. So I think it's been a boost in many different ways.
So you named one business. Were there, since 2012, are there others?
MagnaFlow, we worked with MagnaFlow. They had some misconceptions about different things. We hooked them up with the state GoBiz office. We worked with them on talent attraction, brought in the North County Career Center because they were having problems keeping their talent. So that was some of the issues, and Matt worked with me on that. I brought him in with Sparsha Pharma on some issues as well. So I worked in Gilead as well.
Right.
If I may add as well, it's very difficult to establish direct causality from one economic development effort into a company's decision. It's the reason why we use the language that we have supported over 125 companies and not we have made the decision for 125 companies. Many of the initiatives in the creating of the ecosystem create circumstances that then businesses take into account, whereas they may not have otherwise. But if we were to do a survey and say, did you move here because of one individual effort? No, but it may have been a factor in that decision.
Right. So this is a 2-year, basically program, or that you've specifically put together, this 2-year service agreement. So after that, do you see the some of these? You have 3 in the staff report. They're like plan, develop, coordinate, execute the strategy and programs. So in those 2 years, you plan on doing everything, and then to continue to implement. So it'd be less time spent on the planning and developing.
Yes, we actually changed contract language as our recommendation that it move from planning into executing. So
Right.
more of the language is around that. There will always be new strategies that need to be developed that meet new needs for companies and new needs for businesses and new needs for talent, et cetera. And so there will always be a planning and strategy element to this. But our primary goal for the next 2 years would be to take or the foundation that we've created over the last 18 months and elevate that to something that everybody embraces, both internally along the 78 corridor and externally as well.
All right. Well, I guess I personally would like to see more tangibles described, and how we're directly benefiting from this. I understand that, the whole region piece, but specifically down to Oceanside would be really helpful for me going forward. Thank
Sure.
you.
And again, I don't have Oceanside specific statistics, but I do have 2 pages of accomplishments that I can rattle through or
Right, I got that.
other time. So.
But you're here asking for our part of it, and so I would have really liked for you to have talked about Oceanside. Thank you very much.
Mr. Kern, please.
Thank you. Just a couple of quick questions. Of the 24,000 views, do we know where those are coming from? The idea, is that one person hitting it 24,000 times, or is that
We know that there are
actually
24,000 unique views.
Okay.
So it is not the same person reloading the same page over and over again. I would have to pull some demographic data that I do not have present today to figure out where those are coming from. I know we can pull to a country level specifically where we're getting the most, obviously from the U.S. But
And then, I haven't visited the website. Is there things that they can click through to for specific requests? And I guess the follow-up question to that is, how many click-throughs do we get to other areas within the website?
I will have to follow up with you on the kind of general navigation that people take. I will say that all 5 cities' economic development staffs are listed through that, so that if and the cities all have a profile on the site. So if and as there are interested viewers on the website that find a particular interest in a city, there's direct contact information and linkage to the city for them to be able to follow through there.
Okay, because that would be helpful. And then I guess the last one is the RFI. Are they industry specific or are they spread out?
They have general information that a business would need to know to operate. So utility costs, for example, are going to be relatively the same regardless of what industry that person is doing. It depends more on their usage. However, we also provide supplementary data on the related industry to that individual company. So we make it as specific as possible while maintaining a wide breadth of information for it.
But do we know what type of company is requesting information?
Yeah, so far generally have been manufacturing and IT.
Oh, okay, well, good. I guess I'm going to move staff's recommendation that we approve the MOU for the next 2 years. Thank you.
Second of that. Thank you. Deputy Mayor, please.
Thank you, Mayor Wood. So I don't have a question, I just have a statement. I concur with their concerns about not being able to track exactly whether or not it's benefiting the city of Oceanside on any level. If we get businesses that open up here and it costs us $200,000, I guess that's part of the cost of doing business. But if it costs us $78,000 and we extend an arrangement for 2 years and got nothing to show for it, it's like advertising in the newspaper. You just advertise because you got money to spend and you don't get results that you can measure. We really do need to have the measures. So I imagine in 2 years you will bring us something substantial. Meanwhile, we will stick with staff and ask for feedback between now and then. So thank you for coming today.
Thank you. Along that same line, I'm sure every city asks the same thing. Talk about each individual city. I know for the time period you've been involved in it, we've had contacts with several businesses. Some of them came here to Oceanside, and most recent I would think would be FedEx, big building. But I wanted you also to know along the same line, we get feedback from other sources throughout the county. Number one, education, having a trained educational staff in these fields. The other one is transportation issues. It really is involved in job opportunities. The 600,000 people that go by every day in I-5, Sandag just voted on their half-cent sales tax to go to a ballot initiative to improve I-5 with diamond lanes and also improve 78 at I-5 and 78 at 15, which are 2 areas have the most blockage and traffic congestion. So that's going to go to the public to make that choice, say they want, but we've worked hard at both those in your fields and San Diego EDC, and we also joined up with North County EDC to help things, and our city manager, deputy city manager sit on that. And it's a possibility that will bring companies to Oceanside and North County. So I appreciate what you came here today explaining it, and the websites for everybody gets on it. You can get to the other city and look and see what's available. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. And with that, I guess, please vote.
Motion approved, 5-0.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Good night. Appreciate it. Could we go to item 19 when you get a chance?
Yes. Item number 19 is approval of Amendment 1 to the Professional Services Agreement with Bureau Veritas North America Incorporated for Fire and Life Safety Plan Review Services, modifying the scope of work, adding a termination clause, and revising the compensation to include an increase not to exceed $61,569 for fiscal year 2015-2016 and $87,855 for fiscal year 2016-2017, subject to council adoption of the fiscal year 2016-2017 budget for a revised total contract amount of $300,342, and authorize the city manager to execute the amendment.
Deputy Chief, how are you? And welcome.
Honorable Mayor and council members, Bill Kogerman, Deputy Chief of your Fire Department. I was contacted several weeks ago by the Finance Department as our public service agreement with Bureau Veritas was reaching the $50,000 limit, and they also requested from the Finance Department that we restructure the contract. And working collaboratively with the City Attorney's Office, we chose to try to make some contract amendments, and those amendments, a highlight of those amendments are to increase the hours from 8 a week to 20 a week, increase the limit to the contractor from 61,569 to 87,855 for fiscal year 2016 and 17. Add termination language to the end of the contract, and that'll be the end of this next fiscal year. And number 4, update the target completion dates to accurately reflect building department submittal dates. That's 15 days for the initial submittal and 5 days for resubmittal. Just a little background, prior to the fee change that we did at the end of the year here, or that was implemented at the start of the year, our fire plan check fees were $119. Our inspection fees for that new construction process was $119. In that cost recovery attempt, only the plan check position was accounted for in the plan check process. In actuality, 9 additional positions are indirectly involved in this process. Here's a brief summary of the additional 9 employees that are involved in the plan process. It's actually a total of 9, including the plans examiner. Plans examiner Ann Bland is the contract employee for Bureau Veritas. The fire department has 1 part-time plans examiner at this time. The new fee schedule that was implemented on January 1st is a more comprehensive representation of the plan check and inspection process. The fire department also has seen an increase of 300% in the plan check in the last 5 years. Fiscal year 10 and 11, we were at 266 plan checks. Fiscal year 15-16, we are projected for 1,132 plan checks. This graph is a brief summary on the payments to the contractor or to Bureau Veritas. This graph is shows you the fire prevention revenue comparison by fiscal year, and you can see that as the plan checks have increased, so has the fire prevention revenue. This is the fire prevention expenditures, which is a little bit more flat than the increase in revenues and the plan checks. And just a brief summary of the fee schedule. Here's a snapshot of our current fee schedule, although it's been modified somewhat in new construction as it relates to plan check and building inspections. The other part of this fee schedule has not been updated to this point. Highlighting initial submittals are $119. Commercial building finals, residential building finals are $119. So these old fees were certainly out of date. Here's a list of the new fees. And one of the concerns over the summer was our success rate needed some improvement, and over the last 6 to 7 months, you can see that we are consistently in the 90 to the 100 percentile. This is a highlight of our from July through April. And that concludes my presentation.
Chief, have a seat at sidebar, please. Public on this?
No public.
Back to the City Council. Ms. Sanchez, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm going to go ahead and move approval.
I'm sorry?
I moved approval.
Okay, thank you. think I'm going to get some more information, please, before we go to second. Anybody else?
Well, I'll second. I mean,
Okay.
that's fine. I was kind of expecting more. She usually says something and then more. So you shocked everybody by stopping.
Mr. Kern.
Thank you. And actually, I met with Chief Kogerman and Ken Parsons yesterday and had an in-depth presentation. So I just have a couple of things. I really do have to compliment you on this graph that's on the board now. I know that, you guys got your act together over there and stuff, and hopefully in the future be more transparent. We'll get reports and things like that. And I'm glad to see Chief Rodriguez is here again this time. So the two of you, I think you guys are going to be regulars here. It's almost intimidating to see you guys in the audience all the time. Just as we go forward with this projected, and I see Rick sitting in the back, our development department director, about what they see coming down the line. Because usually when you get them, somebody's actually turning in a piece of paper or turning in an application, the planning building department gets inquiries and things may be coming down the line. What's the communication between you and that department? I'll hear your side, then I'll hear Rick's side. Make sure that hopefully you guys are on the same page.
Councilmember Kern, Rick Brown and I meet at least a minimum of once a week, and probably a bit more frequent than that. So we're in touch with building trends. One of the options that we have as there is a financial downturn is we do have several thousand-hour or hourly extra help employees. So if there were a downturn, we do have the opportunity to reduce hours on those employees. If we don't have the offsetting revenue to cover those salaries, then that would be our option. But as far as building forecasting, I'll let Mr. Brown answer that.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, Councilmember Kern. As Chief Kogerman indicates, we work well together. We are in frequent communication. We have a standing internal citywide development meeting every Monday afternoon that includes building, fire, planning, engineering, water, any of the development-related departments. We meet and talk about things. Development Services and Fire are active in the developers conference process that gives developers an opportunity to come in for a pre-screen on their projects. And I would categorize the working relationship between the Development Services and Fire as very good. It was very good with Chief Rodriguez as the fire marshal. Chief Kogerman's assumed that role for a period of time now. We've collaborated in modernizing their fee schedule to enable them to do cost recovery better than the old $119 for everything. And going forward, we do see upward trends in development activity, and the future looks bright for Oceanside in that regard.
Well, thank you.
1 second, if I may. Ms. City Manager?
If I could just add, please, Honorable Mayor, Council members, the fees that we're getting for plan check and for inspection are solely for that purpose. They can't be used for anything else. So the fees are segregated. So if we did have a downturn, we would simply be, holding on to those fees until such a time where we perhaps up a contract or reduce the contract based on need. So they are specifically dedicated for those purposes and can't be used for anything else.
Okay, thank you. And I guess the word we've mentioned a couple times, inspections. Mission Cove is starting to come out of the ground rather rapidly now. I know Captain Parsons, he has a lot of time dedicated to Mission Cove. We have other large projects coming online, so it's the inspection side to keep on top of that staffing-wise. I guess that's the next question I have is when they start to ramp up and keeping on top of the inspection so they don't get held up in their process because they have to wait for an inspection.
It's certainly our commitment to provide excellent customer service. As you saw in the graphs, as plan checks increase, as building activity increases, we will be challenged to keep up with those commitments to the customer service with the decreased staff that we have. After 2008 and 2009 decrease in fire prevention, we are still at a level today below where we were when I was hired in 1990. So, but we do have a hourly extra help, a couple openings there, so we are working towards, and we are up to date with our inspections now, and we are still within a day or two of scheduling our inspections.
Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor Wood. So, I have a question about one of the slide images you put up there, the one that showed the 2016-2017 cost. It didn't agree with what we have in our statements here. It said, if you could just show it up there, it was like your fifth or sixth image, way at the beginning, somewhere. Further back from that. It was a statement. It wasn't a graph. It'll be the next one, I think. Yeah, right there. So it says, item number 2 says increase the limit to the contractor from 61,569 to 87,855 for 2016-2017. But it says in our minutes here that it would the increase is not to exceed that number, 61,569 for 2015-2016, and the other number for 2016-2017. So I asked the attorney, and he said that that's not correct. Maybe you can explain it further. Thank you.
Yeah, the number for 16-17 is correct. The contract amendment caps it at 87,855 for FY 16-17. So that is what bullet point 2 reflects on that. The cap for this fiscal year is up to 61,569 in the contract, and that's what's reflected on bullet point 2 as well. So,
okay, so what
it's being increased. Yeah.
What that says there is that our limit of 15-16 is 61,569. And we're going to change it to 87,855 for next year.
For next year.
Yeah.
For this year, it's capped out at 61,569 with this amendment.
And that's for the rest of, that's for a few more weeks then.
Right, because that had not been approved by this council, that 61,569. I think what had been happening is the fire department was annually approving it, perhaps because it was below the $50,000 threshold, and that's why we advised them, finance and the attorney's office, to have the council approve that number.
Great. Okay. Thank you.
Was that? I think some of the confusion was back when promotions were in a cap, and we were told that there shouldn't be any delays in project checks by the fire department. That didn't seem to be the case. It's going to hopefully be rectified. That's all I'm concerned about, as that get done. Anyhow, other than that, Ms. City Manager, any more input on this? Thank you very much. This is an item that needs a vote. Okay, please vote.
Motion approved, 5-0.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, take a 5 or 10 minutes recess. We'll have a second half of the council then. Form signed for school, come on up. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We'll start with the second half of our city council meeting. I appreciate it. If you have a pager or a cell phone, put it on vibrate or silent. We'd appreciate that. And Debbie, go ahead.
Please stand for the invocation and pledge of allegiance. Tonight's invocation will be given by City Clerk Zach Beck, who also serves as youth pastor for the Fields Church.
Please join me in bowing our heads. Father, we come before you to say thank you. Thank you for the privilege, the blessing, the honor it is to reside here in the city of Oceanside. We come together tonight as a diverse community, a community of different backgrounds, different beliefs, different presents, and different futures, yet one common goal, and that is the betterment of this city. We come together tonight to seek your guidance, wisdom, and discernment on the deliberations that transpire this evening, and in doing so, we lift up Councilmember Feller, Councilmember Kern, Councilmember Sanchez, Deputy Mayor Lowry, and Mayor Wood. May you grant them peace and wisdom as they guide our city moving forward from here. And we say all these things in your precious name. Amen.
Tonight's Pledge of Allegiance will be led by OPD Explorers Will Jester and Michael Redman.
Put your right hand over your heart. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good job, guys.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, these explorers are the future for our Oceanside Police Department. I thank them. Appreciate it. Go ahead, Debbie.
Next, we have the Pet of the Month, Will Elkie Wills from the San Diego Humane Society. Please come forward.
You'll always like these. First off, I always want to thank Humane Society for being here and bringing some surprises for all of us. The last time they brought kittens, we had to chase them over my shoulder and all around the circuit. But these are two new.
We're doing something a little different today. These little guys actually just came to us today off of Airport Road, little stray kittens. And I am taking them down to our 24-hour kitten nursery in San Diego, where they'll be picked up by a foster mom. We will have thousands of kittens come into our care this year. We're just getting into the beginning of kitten season. So I thought this would be a wonderful time to remind everyone, A, spay and neuter your cats. B, if you're looking to adopt a kitten, right now we're a little slow. We have one available for adoption at our Airport Road location, but probably in June, you'll have the pick of the litter. There will be many, many kittens just coming in and out of there until the end of summer into fall. Kittens are $125 to adopt, but they come with all their vaccinations, spayed and neutered, and lots of other fun stuff. But also, if you adopt a buddy, that fee is waived. So these two little guys who don't even have names yet, about 3 weeks of age, would love to go home together, so we kind of try to give an incentive so people can take two home, and that goes for cats as well. But I also thought, you know, if you can't adopt, but you have love and time and a wonderful warm home, fostering is a great way to give back to the animals here in the community. You bring in these little guys. Some of these guys are a pretty big commitment, you know, feeding every so many hours, giving them lots of attention that they're not receiving from their mother, and we give you all of that training. We provide all of the supplies for you, and so it is a great way to give back. And again, if kittens are too much for you to handle, dogs, cats, puppies are always looking for help as well. Bunnies. So you go to our website and you look up foster care, and again, it's a great way to take them out of the shelter environment, get them into a loving home, and then you can share so much about their personality so we can find the right adoptive home for them.
I think they would be a wonderful mascot for a big company like Sudbury.
Exactly. You can get them all set up for you. You can have an office cat. There are such a thing. You know, I only can touch one. gloves on, because they're just so fragile and so easily with kittens that I just want to make sure that I'm not giving them anything that I had from walking around the shelter, and then when I go home, that they're not giving anything to my puppies. So.
Thank you very much. Let's hear it for her. Thank you.
These guys are 2 weeks, and these ones are 3.
Oh, wow. Ooh. Oh, wow. By the way, I got my adult cat from down there, and it's wonderful. Oh, wow.
Okay, next we have a proclamation for the American Legion Auxiliary Poppy Month. Would the following members of Oceanside ALA Unit 146 please come forward when I call your name? Mary Thorsten, President. Suzanne Brewer, Secretary and Poppy Chairman. Ann Hall, Marshal. Nancy Anton, Historian. And Lorna de la Cruz, who is a member. Proclamation in honor of Poppy Month, May 2016. Whereas America is the land of freedom, preserved and protected willingly and freely by citizen soldiers, and whereas millions who have answered the call to arms have died on the field of battle, and whereas a nation at peace must be reminded of the price of war and the debt owed to those who have died in war, and whereas the red poppy has been designated as a symbol of sacrifice of lives in all wars, and whereas the American Legion Auxiliary of Oceanside, Unit 146, has pledged to remind America annually of this debt through distribution of the memorial flower, now therefore be it resolved that I, Jim Wood, Mayor of the City of Oceanside, California, do hereby proclaim May 20th, 2016 as Poppy Month in Oceanside, and ask that all citizens pay tribute to those who have made the ultimate sacrifice in the name of freedom by wearing the memorial poppy during this period and on Memorial Day, issued this 4th day of May, 2016.
Sorry, so that you all know, In Flounders Field is a poem that recognizes our poppies, and I read this every year to everybody, but if you have a chance, look it up on the internet or in the library and read it yourself several times through. It was written during the war and by a Dr. John McCrae. He was serving and was wounded at the time. In Flounders Fields, the poppies blow between the crosses row on row that mark our place, and in the sky the larks still bravely singing fly. Scarce heard amid the guns below, we are the dead. Short days ago we lived, felt dawn, saw sunset glow. Loved and were loved, and now we lie in Flounders Fields. Take up our quarrel with the foe, to you from failing hands we throw. The torch be yours to hold it high. If ye break faith with us who die, ye shall not sleep through poppies grow in Flounders Fields.
First off, ladies, I thank you coming out every year and present the floppies, but my dad did this all the time with the DAV, and I appreciate him and you for what you do. Thank you very much. And the plaque for you. And you want to speak? No. Oh, no, that was let's get a picture. Come on up here.
OHS question for you. Next, we have a proclamation for Year of the Economic Developer. I would like to call forward the following individuals: Deanna Lorson, Oceanside Assistant City Manager; Tracy Bolin, Economic Development Manager; and Matthew Sanford, San Diego Regional Economic Development Corporation Director. Proclamation in honor of Year of the Economic Developer. Whereas the International Economic Development Council is celebrating its 90th anniversary in 2016, and whereas the International Economic Development Council is the largest professional economic development organization dedicated to serving economic developers, and whereas the International Economic Development Council provides leadership and excellence in economic development for communities, members, and partners through conferences, training courses, advisory services and research, in-depth publications, public policy advocacy and initiatives, such as the Accredited Economic Development Organization Program and the Certified Economic Developer designation. And whereas economic developers promote economic well-being and quality of life for their communities by creating, retaining, and expanding jobs that facilitate growth, enhance wealth, and provide a stable tax base. And whereas economic developers stimulate and incubate entrepreneurism in order to help establish the next generation of new businesses, which is the hallmark of the American economy. And whereas economic developers are engaged in a wide variety of settings, including rural and urban, local, state, provincial, and federal governments, public/private partnerships, chambers of commerce, universities, and a variety of other institutions. And whereas economic developers attract and retain high-quality jobs, develop vibrant communities, and improve the quality of life in their regions, including the City of Oceanside. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Jim Wood, Mayor of the City of Oceanside, California, do hereby proclaim 2016 as Year of the Economic Developer in the City of Oceanside. Furthermore, I encourage our community to recognize the importance of this profession in expanding career opportunities and improving quality of life. Issued this 4th day of May, 2016.
Thank you, Mayor and Council, for your leadership, really, in the economic development area. Economic development is really everybody's job, starting at the top with the City Council and Mayor, and all the way through all of the city staff and the community, working together to help businesses thrive so that we can have a strong economy to provide for the services that everyone benefits from. And so it's my pleasure, as Assistant City Manager for the City of Oceanside, to recognize the contributions of economic development, and I thank you, Mayor, in recognizing us and proclaiming the Year of the Economic Developer here in Oceanside. I do want to also recognize our partner organizations such as Innovate 78, as well as Visit Oceanside, Main Street Oceanside, the Chamber of Commerce, and all the others that we do partner with in economic development. And so thank you, Matt, for joining us tonight.
Wait, I appreciate it. Closed session report, Mr. Attorney.
Thank you. The council met in closed session to discuss the status of negotiations with the various labor associations, including the Western Council of Engineers, Oceanside Fire Management Association, and the management employees of the City of Oceanside. There's no action to report on item 1. Item 2, council met to discuss a conference with real property negotiator involving the area just east of the Strand, running parallel to and east of the beach between Breakwater Way and Wisconsin Way. The negotiating parties are City of Oceanside and Main Street, Oceanside Incorporated. Under negotiations are price and terms for the use of the real property. Item 3, there was no action to report on item 2. And then item 3 is conference with legal counsel on the status of existing litigation in the matter of Grace versus Lance et al. And Hurst versus Garcia et al. And there is no action to report on either of those 2 items at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Mullen. I appreciate it. Item 26, please. How many other on the...
There are 3 others in addition to item 26. Yes, item number 26 is advance written request to reserve time to speak by Fabio Marchi. Marchi, is Fabio here? I do not see him. Okay. Our next 3 speakers are Francis Kozerski, Suzanne Whitlock, and Sheila Cada.
The Honorable Mayor and members of the City Council, my name is Francis Kozerski. I'm a resident of Oceanside. It's a matter of public record. I'd like to bring to your attention tomorrow, Thursday, which was set aside by the U.S. Congress as a National Day of Prayer. Since I first came here to Oceanside in 1991, I was looking for a way to be involved in the National Day of Prayer. However, the City of Oceanside, the clergy of Oceanside, didn't have anything set up in a formal way here at the Civic Center or at the San Luis Rey Mission, a historic site, or anywhere within the city that I knew of. So for many, many years, I've been celebrating the National Day of Prayer at the city of Carlsbad, because approximately 12 or 14 different congregations would gather in the city of Carlsbad at around noon, and they'd meet outside the city hall for about an hour and 15, hour and 20 minutes, and they'd pray for our country. So I'm just asking you to consider tomorrow as a National Day of Prayer. And the reason why I say this is not just because Congress mandated it, but I just got through the other day watching a television docudrama on Fox Television, cable channel. It was called 13 Days. 13 Days, in a synopsis, is the life of John F. Kennedy and Nikita Khrushchev in the 13 days of the Cuban Missile Crisis, as they were trying to figure out politically how to stop the Cuban Missile Crisis from becoming a full-blown thermonuclear war. I believe in my heart and soul people across this nation, and not just this nation, but around the world, were praying for a solution that John F. Kennedy and Nikita Khrushchev would have enough sense not to blow up the world over this Cuban Missile Crisis. Cooler heads eventually prevailed. Anyway, I just ask you to pray for our nation, President Barack Hussein Obama, Vice President Joe Biden, Speaker of the House, members of Congress, Darrell Issa, Senators Feinstein and Boxer, who are our elected senators here in California, Governor Jerry Brown, California State Legislature, City of Oceanside, Carlsbad, Vista, San Marcos, Escondido, our schools, our businesses, our churches, and last of all, I ask that you pray for our armed services, United States Marines here at Camp Pendleton, United States Army, Navy, Air Force, Coast Guard, National Guard, National Security, Homeland Security, and most of all, pray for a change. And that's a change of heart in America, that will come together and begin to spend a little more time praying that God would bless our nation rather than some people that would like to curse our nation. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Sheila Cada, 1092 Greenway Road. And at the last Oceanside City Council meeting I was at, Nadine Scott brought up Oceanside Boulevard and Ralph's Market, that it's empty, and I think it's been empty over 2 years. And I thought, maybe we should get together with churches and everybody and make a homeless shelter with it. I think that would be a great idea. You could, it was a grocery store, it has water and all that, but we could get people together and churches and everybody come together and make a help the homeless, maybe do something with it there. Make it a homeless shelter. That's all I'm asking. Bye.
Thank you.
Hello, esteemed Mayor and council members. I'm Suzanne Whitlock, 520 North Cleveland Street, so I'm coastal Oceanside. I just wanted to bring to your attention, we had a little bit of media lately. We actually received a raspberry in Oceanside by the San Diego Union Tribune. The headline is, "Bad apples turn up the peer pressure on the ocean." I'm sorry, "Bad apples turn up peer pressure in Oceanside." So it talks about the scofflaws and transients who have turned the landmark Oceanside Pier into a poorly lit stage of all sorts of obnoxious late-night behavior. And, I don't know a lot about why the decision was made to close the pier, and that's my bad. I need to do more homework on it, right? But I do know that with this decision, I feel like increased patrols are necessary, even if the pier is closed. I do know what I see in action. I run on the pier every day, and I do that early in the day and at the nighttime. So I have never seen in 2 years, I've never seen a police person actually on the pier. I did see a policeman apprehending a man in the tunnel the other day, and I applauded it. But very, very little patrol on the pier. So I'm asking you, and I will become more involved, in combination with this decision, that we not vacate the pier, or really actually it's never been occupied by the police department, that we actually turn up the patrols, and maybe you'll find in the end that the patrols that are needed to close the pier would be just as much or more than to reopen it. Okay. Thank you.
If I could, Mayor and council members, we have not made the decision to close the pier.
Okay. So that'll be upcoming then. So I need to, no? Okay. Was this article incorrect?
It was discussed at a commission meeting, but we have not made a decision to close the pier.
Okay. All right, well, I'll continue following. But my plea I need to see the feet of these policemen. My house is probably patrolled 100 times a day, and I love seeing them patrol past my house. But sometimes you can't really get out and know what's going on the pier. And like I said, I'm there every day with my feet on the ground. We need to see more patrols on the pier and in our downtown. Thank you.
Fabio Marchi, you can speak now.
Hello, council members. My name is Fabio Marchi, 2030 Broadway, Oceanside. I have a current project for 4 units in 2030 Broadway, and I believe that my permit is active. Even so, the planner says that my permit has expired. These permits, they got 9 years extension, and has been brought to my attention that in January 8, 2016, according to the planner, expired. But there's a timeline for this project. In January 8, 2007, has been approved by the Planning Commission. In 2009, January 8, was going to expire. And thanks to the council members and the action of Director Buell and Mr. Hiddleman, we got this extension for this project. Also, we have a new resolution for this project that was working after 2009. This project this project went in July 27, 2009 to the Planning Commission, and we got an extension. Also, in August 19, 2009, it says that this permit, it is being told since 2009. The question came because I was checking with eTracket. eTracket is a system that the City of Oceanside put for customers to check their permits. And according to eTracket, it says that my permit was active. And I believe so. Now, there is a rule that a person A, by act or words, give to a person B the reason to believe that certain set of facts which a person B takes action, person A later cannot deny that. So that is called estoppel. And I believe by estoppel my permit is active, and there's a lot of information to submit in these 2-3 minutes, but my intention is, as to the council members, to give me the opportunity to reconsider this wrongfully date of expiration, since this resolution has been created in 2009, and the eTracket says being active. So if you can consider my request to allow me to continue with this project, and or instruct the city manager to take action for allow me to achieve my permit. Any questions? Or?
We don't really respond to items not on the agenda. What we'll do is refer you to Rick. Back there, his hands up. He'll talk to you, or he'll go back and talk to him, and he might be able to help you and set something up, okay? Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Is that it?
Item number 28?
Yes, item 28.
Yes, item number 28 is the introduction of an ordinance approving zone amendment ZA 14-00001, amending the El Corazon specific plan to include provisions allowing horizontal mixed-use development, design guidelines, a phasing provision, and potential transfer of non-residential square footage within the Village Commercial Zone District and the Oceanside Boulevard Zone District, located in the 44-acre portion of the 465-acre planning area, El Corazon specific plan amendment, applicant Sudbury Development Incorporated.
Thank you. As mayor, I'll open this public hearing and request information from council members.
Staff only.
Staff, the applicant, and public.
It's been going for a while, so quite a bit of input from the city, staff, the applicant, and some other applicants in the area, and that's all.
Staff and the public.
Staff and public. And Mr. Clerk, any correspondence and petitions?
All information is provided to the council.
Thank you very much. And with that, we'll go ahead to testimony. How you doing, William?
Good evening, Mayor Wood, members of the council. This evening, I'm going to start my presentation out with a little bit of background. Starting back in 2009, when City Council at that time adopted the El Corazon specific plan. An incredible piece of property, the center, the heart of the city of Oceanside. The city engaged in a fairly lengthy public process, a grassroots, bottom-up planning process to create a plan consistent with the vision that city established at that time. As part of the certification of the EIR at that time, council took action to approve the project plus 300 residential units. So that came back to council at that time in September of 2009. And in 2009, then the El Corazon specific plan was formally amended to incorporate the provisions for 300 vertical mixed-use residential dwelling units. Now, subsequent to that, in 2013, the city does a lot of things very, very well. We do a very good job at planning, land use and development, at regulating land uses, but in terms of actually physically developing property, that's not something that's really within the wheelhouse of local government. So in January of 2013, the city entered into a development and disposition agreement with Sudbury Development. Sudbury Development then became a partner, engaged in a public-private partnership with the city of Oceanside to focus on implementation of the non-resident, or the non-park components of that specific plan. In a moment, we'll be looking at the specific plan land use map, and I'll provide a little bit more information on that. Last year in March, we held workshops with both commission and council. At that time, we received quite a bit of good comment, good direction by council, and that direction at that time provided informed process for staff and the applicant to work together collaboratively to make further refinements to the proposed specific plan amendment. I want to just bring the attention of everyone to the vision statement that's in the specific plan. It establishes the overall view of what the specific plan is intended to do for the community. Important component of it is underlined. It indicates commercial development is included that could fund the operation and maintenance of the park, and vertical mixed-use residential housing provides an opportunity for transit-oriented development serviced by the adjacent Sprinter rail line. And so the plan, very clearly, it does have the residential development component, allows up to 300 residential units. It limits that development, that type of residential development, to vertical mixed use, which means that it needs to be developed above ground floor retail and office. This evening, the applicant Sudbury Development is requesting introduction of an ordinance and ultimately approval of that ordinance to, first and foremost, add the horizontal mixed-use component. And that doesn't mean that vertical mixed use would go away, but it would afford Sudbury the opportunity to pursue both types of residential development. I have on the screen right now the specific plan zone districts, and the areas that, as we look at this 465-acre planning area, the focus of the amendment tonight is only on 44 acres of that. It affects the village commercial area, which is designated in this orange color, the VC area, and also this burnt orange area, the Oceanside Boulevard commercial area, situated down along the north side of Oceanside Boulevard. And here across the intersection, across Oceanside Boulevard, is the location of that Sprinter rail line referred to earlier in the vision statement. A quick summary of the amendment. We do have the full amendment in red line strikeout provided as an exhibit to the ordinance before the council this evening. The first and foremost, as I mentioned a few moments ago, would introduce the ability to develop horizontal mixed use along with vertical mixed use residential development within the village commercial and Oceanside Boulevard commercial area. It would also create design guidelines. Those would encourage the placement of mixed use buildings along a drive, an access drive that connects the Street B and Street A roundabouts. That would be the location of commercial along that area with residential behind it. It would establish a phasing provision, and this is something that staff had identified and that came out of the council direction in last year's workshop. This provision would require that for every 30 dwelling units proposed, a minimum of 500 square feet of commercial development would have to be simultaneously developed. It also importantly allows transfer of commercial office and other non-residential development from the village commercial area to the Oceanside Boulevard commercial area. Council may recall that when we did the workshop last year, Mr. Sudbury at that time and his team pointed out the fact that commercial development needs to have both accessibility and visibility to high-traffic arterial streets, and we have that along Oceanside Boulevard. We don't have that along that portion of the village commercial area. It just doesn't have that visibility and access, and we also have grade issues which make it unsuitable for commercial development at any scale. However, it does have the ability to accommodate limited commercial that could serve local residential or park users. Real quick review, we've got a few policies. We've gone into a more in-depth analysis in the agenda report before council this evening. We have a housing policy states the city shall ensure housing is developed in areas with adequate access to employment opportunities, community facilities, and public services. Clearly, this location, and looking at surrounding land uses and looking at the ultimate development plan for El Corazon, clearly the proposed amendment would further achievement of this policy. Also, we have housing policy which states the city shall encourage development of a variety of housing opportunities. The ability to do horizontal mixed use where you have ground floor residential, that creates a much greater potential for doing either rental or ownership housing. And so in doing so, it creates greater potential for achieving this particular policy of the city's general plan. And then finally, we highlighted Commercial Enhancement Policy 2.26A that states the city shall encourage the establishment of specialized districts, centers, and developments for unique commercial uses which contribute positively to the city's revenue and employment-generating abilities and cultural enhancement. By virtue of allowing the horizontal mixed use and allowing the transfer of non-residential square footage down to the Oceanside Boulevard Commercial District, what that does is that enhances the potential for market viable development within the El Corazon specific plan. And to that extent, it substantially furthers the achievement of this policy. The project has been reviewed by both the El Corazon Standing Committee of the EDC. They reviewed it and forwarded it to the Planning Commission with a recommendation of approval by a vote of 3-0. And in March, the Planning Commission conducted a hearing. At that time, after due consideration, the Commission did approve a resolution by a 6-1 vote with one commissioner dissenting, recommending City Council approval of the amendment. And the one dissenting vote by one of the commissioners was more focused on the nature of horizontal mixed use. We did have an exhibit we provided at that time that was a graphic that showed a comparison of vertical mixed use to horizontal mixed use. And I think that the commissioner who opposed the amendment struggled with whether or not the actual horizontal mixed-use development would occur in a form that would be acceptable to him. This evening, the recommendation of staff is that the City Council introduce the amendment, including the provisions that we've outlined here this evening. Again, the exhibit to the ordinance details the provisions that are before Council. And with that, that concludes my presentation. I'd be happy to answer any questions. I know that Mr. Sudbury and Mr. Sesa are here this evening, the entire Sudbury team, and they also have a brief presentation.
Have a seat, sidebar, if you have any questions, we'll ask you. May I ask you one question while you're getting your stuff together? How about Sterling Properties that are on this? Is this part of that or what?
Sterling Properties controls some of the acreage in the northern end, so right now we're processing a project, Park Villas, at El Corazon. That's by Shopwolf, and Shopwolf has a 4.7 acre piece of property owned by Sterling. They have that under contract, and they do have a project that's currently in process.
See a representative, I'll talk to him. Okay, thank you very much.
Certainly.
Any questions for this gentleman right now? Or?
At this time, Sudbury may make their presentation.
Good evening, Mayor, council members. Thank you for giving us this time to present to you again. As Mr. Ramsey mentioned, we were here a little over a year ago, and we discussed this proposal in a workshop. We felt like it was fairly well received. Some questions had to be answered, but in working with the city staff and with the Friends of El Corazon and the community over the last year, we refined our proposal. It's in essence exactly what was discussed in our workshop back in March of 2015. And there's really nothing material that's changed. We just went ahead and finished up some of the more technical aspects of getting the language right, address a few questions. But I think Mr. Ramsey's presentation did a very good job of covering all of that. And I don't have a presentation that's really much different from what he already provided. I would like to say, just to add one comment to Mr. Ramsey's presentation on the one commissioner that dissented. The issue was over a generic building typology that showed vertical mixed use versus horizontal mixed use. And quite frankly, it really, the graphic that was shown, we discussed this with staff afterwards, really wasn't a correct depiction of what we're proposing. And so I think that led to some confusion, perhaps. I can't speak for the commissioner, but we thought we addressed his concerns when we answered his questions, but apparently not to his satisfaction. But having said that, we do have a few slides I'd like to show you without going the full presentation. So bear with me for a moment so I can get to it. I think they will help be relevant to the planning commissioner's concern. Real quickly, I'll go through this briefly. This is some pictures of the existing facility that we built with the city. This is the first phase of our public-private partnership. I think it's been very well received by the community and by the local tournaments, and it's been very successful. Some more pictures. We're having about 20-something tournaments a year. I don't know if anybody's been up there recently, but it's been a little bit colder than it was last winter, so we're having a bit of a tough time with the grass. So fortunately, we're going to be suspending a few tournaments until the weather warms up. Let's skip through this. This is just some bullet points that was already addressed by Mr. Ramsey. That's not blown up very well, but that's sort of a composite plan that shows obviously the soccer fields, the sports fields in the middle. It shows some kind of generic layout of some commercial to the south. And then you see the village commercial area where we have put in some residential and some retail, which again is so small it's kind of hard to see here. Let's see if I can blow this up. The arrow that's pointing to that corner depicts this next image. And this is really what I wanted to get to. This is the image that I think more accurately represents what our proposal will be for the mixed-use portion of the site. This shows some vertical integration of retail. It's not all proposed to be horizontal. And so we've sized the shops just right to be the right depth, the right width, and to go up and down this, what is in essence a little bit of a main street with some parallel parking or perpendicular parking in front, although it's not a double-sided main street because there's no retail on the senior center side to the west. But that affords us the ability to promote kind of an urban edge, a street scene, some pedestrian connections with some cafes and retail on the ground floor. It only amounts to about 5,000 feet in this area because if you take the right size of shops and dimension them right, and you take the length of street we have, it only comes out to about 5,000 feet. But it's a start. I think that it'll be well received. Retail and restaurants in this general area of the site behind the street would be a challenge, and that was really the impetus for our proposal to go from 100% vertical mixed use to some horizontal and some vertical. Here, obviously, we think we can achieve some vertical mixed use and get at least have it be successful. But to do retail under the whole, our allotment of 268 residential units, to do retail underneath all of that would amount to way too much shop space, and especially in an area of the site that has very little or no visibility from Rancho Del Oro. Topography doesn't lend itself well. There's no visibility. The main retailers are going to want to be down on the south parcel, which is on Oceanside Boulevard. By doing this proposal of having some at-grade residential behind these shops, we are not losing the ability to fulfill the full target of the retail and office space in the plan, because the Oceanside Boulevard parcel actually is a couple acres bigger than what was contemplated in the earlier specific plan before some of the engineering was done that we've done. So we have a little bit more room down there, and we can easily fit all the retail that the specific plan targets. I think those are really the only slides I wanted to make sure that I showed you before we get into some questions and answers. Thank you.
Thank you. You've got 20 minutes, so you want to save your time for later. Thank you.
Great.
At this time, the public has the opportunity to speak. First, we'll have Ruth Jameson, and then anyone else is welcome to speak on this item.
Good evening, Mayor Wood and Council. I speak to you tonight not as any art organization, but as a private citizen. I was here the night that Sudbury was awarded the contract for development of El Corazon. And at that time, I asked if there was a place for a school of arts and sciences, a charter school, to be included in this plan somewhere. It probably is not the acreage that's on the agenda for tonight, but I feel very strongly that this kind of a school where the children will have the opportunity to integrate the imagination which gives birth to science through art. So if you could find a spot somewhere, and I talked to you last time you were here, for this kind of a charter school. The Orange County School of Fine Art has expressed interest in building a school here in Oceanside somewhere. So it seems like this might be an opportunity for collaboration and partnering with another established school. So I think that instead of just dedicating all of the land to soccer fields and restaurants, there should be something for the children to exercise their imagination as well as their physical bodies. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other members of the public wishing to speak on this item may come forward this time.
Good evening, Mayor, Council members. George McNeil, 2153 Andalucia Way, Oceanside. I'm here this evening as a representative of the Friends of El Corazon to speak in support of Sudbury Development's request for a change in the El Corazon specific plan that would permit horizontal mixed use. It's become obvious that the original plan for the village commercial section on El Corazon, which was primarily retail with possibly residential on the second floor, simply won't work. Many retail owners are not interested in locating in the village commercial section. The Sudbury request does not reduce the amount of retail square footage on El Corazon, but instead locates most of that footage in the Oceanside Boulevard section, an area that is more desirable to the owners of retail outlets. In addition, the number of housing units permitted by this specific plan on El Corazon remains at a maximum of 300. With the change to horizontal mixed use, Sudbury would be able to construct most of the 268 units assigned to them on the village commercial section. The remaining 32 units would be built on the portion of the village commercial section controlled by Shop-Off Corporation. In conclusion, the Friends of El Corazon support the Sudbury Development's request to change the specific plan to include horizontal mixed use. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mayor, I see no more speakers on this item.
Thank you. You want to respond? You have plenty of time left. You don't have to, but you have plenty of time left in the 20 minutes, or we'll go back to the council.
No, sir, I'm fine. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay. With that, I'll close the public hearing and come back to the council, and I'll first go off with Ms. Sanchez, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Well, we definitely have been up here really anxious to advance the economic development portion of El Corazon Park. El Corazon Park has been in the visioning process since 1998 or so, probably even before that. And Sandag did recommend the addition of up to 300 units so that we can take advantage of the Sprinter station. And so the portion allocated to Sudbury was up to the 268. I do agree that this is, thank you for being creative in how to get going. I mean, that's really what we want to do here is really advance, really have some kind of timeline that this is actually going to happen. So I am supporting the horizontal mixed use, that in fact this is going to be hopefully seen from the street. We'll hopefully get even more, people to come to the retail part of this. And of course, you are seeing a lot of people going in and out of that area, not just from the senior center and the tremendous use of the senior center, but also from the soccer fields. And of course, the traffic on Oceanside Boulevard and Rancho de Oro Road. So I'm going to go ahead and move that we introduce the ordinance with approving the zone amendment so that this can go forward. And really encourage you to do what you can to get this going, because this is certainly something that the community has been waiting for a long time. And I'm hoping this is actually going to, in supporting this will actually make that happen. So thank you very much.
I'll second it. You want to do it?
Thank you. I just wanted to see, when we're changing the specific plan, so this does not apply to Park Villas. It just applies to this one section. Is that what you're telling me?
Mr. Mayor and council members, there's a portion of the shop-off project that is within the village commercial. And this amendment applies to the entire village commercial. So even though it's a smaller portion than the Sudbury, it would affect a portion of the Sudbury ownership.
Okay, because I would like the Park Villas to kind of continue the theme that Mr. Sudbury showed up here, on their section, so that it kind of blends together. It doesn't have to necessarily be the same design, but the same theme on that edge.
Mayor and council members, we are working with both developers to have a consistent theme so that the appearance and the aesthetics along Village Commercial Drive is consistent.
Okay, thank you. The other thing I really want to get away from, because I was on that committee originally, the second committee, the one with Mr. McNeil, that 300 units was just pulled out of the air. There was no real basis in fact. It was just like a nice round number. Could have been 325, could have been 275. I would like to get away from that number and actually go to like a planning element of a max density per acre. And the idea that, quality product, have a density per acre that's consistent for whatever residential units we do. If it ends up being 305 or 310 or whatever, it doesn't really matter, as long as it makes sense on a planning issue as far as density per acre. So that way we can continue that. That's kind of what I'd like to see, instead of just picking a number. Because that number, there was no real research to say, okay, this will hold 300. Obviously, we don't want 1,000. I mean, obviously that's over the top. But the idea that something that makes sense on a planning department. So I'm going to let you guys work that out. And if we come back with Park Villas, that we can discuss that at that time. So that's the only thing that I really have to say. I support this. I think it's a good plan. I think we're changing the product type to something that's actually going to work. Vertical mixed use is difficult. All we have to do is look downtown, and we have the density downtown to do vertical mixed use, and hasn't been real successful down here yet. So hopefully, with the horizontal mixed use and having that village street or wherever that, I don't even know, do we have that street named already? No. Okay, think of one. Okay, we'll come up with one. Here's your shot. You put it in there. So the idea of having that village commercial along that street, and then which kind of walls off the residential behind it. So it's not something that's going to impact the visual part of the park, because you're going to see this commercial section right by the park. So anyway, that's my only comment. So thank you.
I just want to, we could name that Fireworks Alley or something like that up there.
Thank you very much. Trying to make it a better place, and I know residential is going to be probably required out there, because people buying out there will act like it's their place and watch the park. They'll be part of the security out there and make it a better place. We certainly want some of the commercial area that's down there below it, off Oceanside Boulevard, which is a good request. However, part of this is we've been pressured heavy by Sterling going to put a piece of property in there they own without getting us sued. We want to make sure they're going to have something too. And it's something that you would, when you're building your houses, or you talk to Sudbury, I mean Sterling? Okay, thank you very much. Because that's something I'd like to see both of these people satisfied, and putting a nice project out there for us. And the soccer fields, as you can see in the photo, a couple of cars showed up wow. I had more cars than we had soccer fields, but anyhow, it's really a nice turnout, and I think some nice things out there, commercial and residential, will make it a better place for all of us. And thank you very much. And ladies and gentlemen, let's vote. I'm sorry.
This is the introduction of an ordinance of the City of Oceanside, California, amending certain provisions of the Elk Horror Zone specific plan to allow horizontal mixed-use residential development and related amendments.
Please vote.
Motion approved, 5-0.
Thank you. And please, Mr., we finished everything?
Just reports.
Just reports. Okay, let's go with those.
Mayor Wood.
Make it quick and short, and been to a lot of things. I was kind of sick for a few months for the cough and cold, but April 21st, I went to the Oceanside Business Expo. It was really a fantastic turnout. April 26th, the Tourism Summit here in Oceanside. It was a big turnout. April 29th, Bridgewhite College graduation, honored Oceanside graduate. We had that. April 30th, the Garrison Creek Trail opening off there at the Elk Horror Zone. And May 1st, Seropolis Luna Fest Film Festival, and proceeds to get breast cancer. I went to all those, and I think I want to say one thing at the end. A lot of you people see Jimmy not here at the meeting all the time. Heavy-set, hat on, bearded gentleman. He had a major stroke a few days back. He's been in the hospital. He probably won't be back for at least 3 or 4 months, we were told. He's been really a part of Oceanside and what goes on here. So our thoughts and prayers go out to Jimmy and anybody that knows him. We'll let you know. Thank you very much. I don't know now. He's in a recovery center.
Deputy Mayor Lowry.
Thank you, Clerk Beck. Well, all I have to report is that I joined Councilmember Kern and Councilmember Feller at the Genentech ribbon cutting along with Senator Pat Bates. They just opened the largest non-utility solar array in San Diego County, and they intend to produce 22% of their needed electrical usage. I mentioned that the City of Oceanside in a few months will have 13 facilities that will produce many times more power than what they're producing on their one property, and they were kind of impressed with that. And also, I want to mention that the Oceanside Public Library has started a new program designed for developmentally disabled adults. It's called Monday Club, and it takes place, yes, every Monday at the Civic Center Library right over here near City Hall. It's from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m., and each week features a different activity such as games, arts and crafts, and reading. Also, our first Friday art walk is this Friday. Yeah. The first Friday. And it's will feature the finale event of the library's Latino Americans 500 Years of History grant project. Photos from Nuestra Historia Revelada, which is Our History Revealed, will be on display at the Civic Center Library. The photos were gathered from local residents to help document the important role of the Latino community in the shaping of Oceanside. Also on Saturday, I want to suggest that people visit the Adelante bookmobile. It will be at the Libby Lake Resource Fair this coming Saturday, May 7th, from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. That will be an open to the public event at Libby Lake Park, and it's always interesting to see how many people turn out for these small community events. And I intend to go, and I hope I'll see other people there too, so thank you.
Councilor Feller.
Thank you. Only one thing, I would like to congratulate Michelle Lawrence on graduating her first college child, and she's headed out for that tonight. And I pray for safe travels, and that's all I have tonight.
Councilor Kern.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Two things, actually. Yeah, it was pretty impressive to see all those solar panels there. Michelle Lawrence was there too. She was there. The only thing was it was a partly cloudy day, and I told Dave Niagara when I was president of the chamber we would have had full sun. So the other thing, on May the 20th, and actually Mr. McNeil left, one of his other jobs is he's a trustee at Maricosta College. On May the 20th at Maricosta College, I am co-hosting along with our local representatives, Senator Bates, Assemblymember Chavez and Waldron, and Diane Harkey, who is our Board of Equalization representative for this district, a business expo and resource fair at Maricosta College. So you're thinking about starting a business, or you want to see what business climate is in California, Ms. Harkey deals with the Board of Equalization, and she's going to have a lot of resources there, so people that want to talk about business can come. It's free. It's going to cost you $1 to park, and it's all day from about 9 to 3 at Maricosta College. So I see some students here. So if you're available on the 20th of May to come out to Maricosta and actually go through that, so that would be something to give you some information. So thank you.
Councilmember Sanchez.
Thank you. I wanted to add one event that we had, and that is at Valderrama Park. We had our annual, I want to say it's the 14th annual Dia del Niño event. So basically celebrating and honoring our children in the neighborhood. And as part of those festivities, we actually had a pozole contest. So we had, $100 for the winning dish, and $60 for second place, and $40 for first place. And it was blind. I got to be one of the judges, one of the 5 judges, and so we didn't know who had submitted which dish. So to let you know, the winner of the pozole and contest, and is the queen of the pozole, and we had a little banner here for her, was Marjorie Pierce. Marjorie Pierce, our own Marjorie Pierce, for the first time did pozole, cooked pozole, and I told her, I was surprised. I usually like the traditional kind of red pozole. She did a green one, and it was so delicious, and I want to congratulate her. She is our Reina del Pozole, our queen of the pozole. For a whole year, I got to crown her and, put her little thing on. So now tomorrow we have, of course, it's Cinco de Mayo, and we have a celebration. Actually, it's been going on for the last few days over at the Maricosta Learning Center here on Mission Avenue. So that is also happening tomorrow. And we also have, Chuck, I believe you also mentioned the finale event of Latino Americans 500 Years of History at the Oceanside Library. So that's really, really important. And we also have a Mother's Day fancy dress swim at the North Pier on Saturday, this Saturday. And, no, I don't know, one of these years. And finally, the last thing I would like to announce is that we do have on Saturday also, on that same day, 5 o'clock, artist reception for Julia Razor and Mohammed Al-Hamadani. So that's at the Phantom Gallery at 212 North Coast Highway here in Oceanside. So I'm sure there are all kinds of other events happening in Oceanside. More and more, we are definitely becoming that destination city. So, and the last thing I want to say is I just joined the club. I just turned 60 on Sunday, and decided to have my celebration at the Privateer Marketplace. That's the new place in South O. It's a winery wine tasting, and I had a lot of family and friends stop by. We were there for quite a while, and so I've joined the club, and I'm really just. It's kind of bittersweet because, my dad passed away last year, so the first thing, of course, I think about is that I'm so happy to be alive, feel blessed to be alive, and to have the family and friends that I do have, and to feel that we are going together towards this vision of Oceanside that we all share, which is a viable, sustainable community economically and environmentally, and just having the best possible quality of life for all of our residents, young and old. Thank you.
Well, I think at 60 years old, the fancy dress swim should be on the bucket list. So, yeah.
Mr. Feller, please.
I just had one thing that I've probably neglected for like 5 days, and that is Millie Casson passed away. And she was a longtime wife of Jack Casson, which is a legend in our city. So Millie was as well just a gentle lady, and you know, I had heard it over a week, well, not a week ago, but and I just wanted to pass that on to everybody.
Mayor Wood, I have one small announcement. On May 14th, Saturday, the National Association of Letter Carriers are having the Stamp Out Hunger food drive, and anyone who's driving along can bring their food to their mailbox, and letter carriers are going to be picking that up, and that's throughout the county of San Diego. So that's Saturday, May 14th, Stamp Out Hunger. So just want to let you know.
I appreciate that. And by the way, I will adjourn this meeting to Wednesday, May 18th, 3:30 p.m. at this location. Good night. Thank you. Be safe.
Yeah.